trudging through this deep snow sucks.
All right, here, just a quick little intro here. This video was filmed probably like 2.5 years ago. It was a winter a couple years ago before I lived out here. So I was just, clearing the snow best I could. This video is going to bring you through the process. So it took me to fire up my machines, get them running, and clear my driveway so I had access so I could work on construction of my buildings out here. So yeah, just letting you know, if the footage and the sound isn't that great, then I was really early into this stuff. I hadn't really thought much about it. And also I left most of the footage unedited and raw because people like the sound and they just like watching the process. So it's a bit of a long video, but if you stick through it, that's pretty good. Another thing, I've been getting a lot of traction with these videos here, and people seem to like the Bulldozer, so I got a few more projects and stuff on the way. But I'm also going to be doing some maintenance work on this thing at some point, so that's when finances become available. And yeah, so if you could like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed it, there'll be more coming in the future, so enjoy.
All right, it's been a little while. We had like a super cold week here. It was like, got down to -35 out here, so it was pretty chilly. But my heating system in the building there that I got, the temporary one, it seemed to hold up for now, so we didn't freeze inside the building. But we've been getting lots of snow and whatever after this cold snap here now. I haven't been doing a ton of work out here just because I've been taking it easy for a little while here, and I've had some other issues I had to deal with. But anyway, so we're back out here. I was here a few days ago and I had tried to get the tractor going there to get it plowing, and it fires up, but I never really thought about this because it didn't happen to me last year. But I got the tidy tank now to hold all the fuel I need, so I don't have to constantly run jerry cans from in town to get fuel for the tractor. But I didn't think about the fact that I bought the fuel back, I believe it was either the beginning of October or maybe sometime in September. But anyways, at that point, the gas stations around here are still selling like summer diesel or just regular diesel, so it's doesn't have any additives, whereas like once it starts getting cold in Canada here where we're at, they add an additive to the diesel so that it doesn't gel up. And that just didn't, I never really thought about it because I was just like, I don't know, don't run the tractor that often, I guess. But anyway, so it was about minus I don't know, 13 or 14 Celsius or whatever that day earlier in the week there. And so the tractor would idle just fine, but it wouldn't run if you had it at, say, like 2000 RPM or something, which is what I usually like to run it at when I'm plowing. So it kept shutting off on me when it would run out of fuel. It's warmer today. I think we're like sitting around -8, which I'm hoping is enough so that the fuel isn't going to be gelled anymore. It's hard to say. The filter looks the same as it did the other day. Take a little peek in there. I mean, it looks a little cloudy, but I mean, I think it always looks like that because it's like, I don't know. Either way, I have an extra fuel filter if need be. I also have some, I bought some additive that you can put into your diesel to prevent it from gelling in cold weather, so I'm going to add some of that to the current tank. And then I also bought a jerry can of winter diesel, so whenever this one runs out, then I can fill it up with that jerry can. I don't I don't think I'm gonna worry about what's in the tidy tank for this year. I'll just when summer rolls around, I'll start using that stuff again. But anyways, like I was saying, I wanted to get plowing earlier in the week. As you can see, the snow's pretty deep out here. I've been trying to keep up on it. I don't know, let's see. Where's an untouched portion of snow here? I haven't touched any of this snow over here. I don't know, we're probably 12 to 14 inches ish of snow so far this year, and most of that's come just recently too. So the driveway's probably sitting anywhere between, well, as you can see, it's a little bit lower on this side. That's where I started plowing on the earlier in the week, but then I didn't make it all the way down before it quit on me, and a little deeper on that side, and then I drove the truck in a few times. Anyways, these snowbanks on the side are also getting a little bit pushed in, and with the tractor, what I like to do is once in a while just use the bucket and loader, and I just kind of push the snow further out so I can widen out my driveway there, because the plow, I don't have any chains on the tractor, so the plow just kind of pushes the rear end of the tractor around if you try to push too far over. So I mean, widening the driveway at some point, but that's kind of like a low priority, so one of these years I'll get to it. Also, with all the snow and everything, we've had a lot of overcasty days, and I didn't get my big solar array up, so we're going to be doing the generator quite often this winter, which isn't a big deal. I just have the 6 solar panels still set up in the front there, which are still covered in snow. So what I'm going to try and do today, just to make things a little faster, I think I'm going to fire up the bulldozer if I can. It should fire up, hopefully. And then I'm going to do a wide plow on the driveway with that, and then I'll clean up the windrow afterwards with the tractor. So we're going to start with maybe I'll get the tractor fired up, and then I'll put the additive in the tank and see if it'll run into the filter, and then slowly kind of ungel it, which, I mean, yeah, we're above the gelling temperature. Diesel's supposed to gel at minus 12 Celsius. So we've got a few degrees here, 4 degrees, I guess. But I mean, things could still be cold and the gel might still be there. I don't know how warm it needs to be for the gelling to reverse. Anyways, yeah, so I'll show you the stuff I got. Anti-gel treatment. I'm actually going to throw a little bit of this into the tractor, and then the rest of it's going to go in the bulldozer, because that's also running summer diesel. And then I always have to add coolant to the bulldozer there, because it consumes it, but I'll throw a little bit of concentrate in there just to give me a little extra. I was going to bring some more water with me, but I never did. So anyways, we'll start by throwing some of this into the tractor. So this Lucas stuff here, they're saying on the bottle that if you want to be good to minus 10 Fahrenheit, you just do the 1 bottle per 550 liters of this additive. But if you want to go colder, down to minus 40 Fahrenheit, which minus 40 Celsius is kind of what the coldest we ever see around here anyway, so that'd be safe for us. They recommend 2 bottles per 550 liters. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just do, let's math this out here. So 2 liters, that's 1 bottle, so 2 liters per 550. So then 5, and then we're gonna do, what's that here? So 2.5 here, divided by 225. So it's 4.2 mils per liter of fluid. So there's roughly 20 liters in there. So we'll times that. So we need 85 mils to treat what's in this tank down to -40. So yeah, I'll add, so I got a little scale on the side here, rough and dirty one anyways. So I will try and add down 80-ish. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but a little extra, whatever. Should be fine. Oh my God. Only spill a little, you're all right? Okay, now we'll fire the tractor up, and I'll let it idle for a while and let it work its way through the system, and I'll go clean the bulldozer off while I'm waiting for that. I probably never show much with the tractor, but for those of you who don't own any kind of a diesel or equipment or whatever, when you turn them on in the cold anyways, they're going to have some form of like a heater or something, because so diesel's like a compression ignition, so it depends on the temperature of the cylinder increasing by compressing the intake air enough that you can get combustion or whatever, right, when it's got the fuel in there, so you can combust the diesel. Anyway, so like the older system I think would be like glow plugs, which is what this engine has. And so when I turn the key into the on position, there's a little sign right here, and that's the glow plug sign, and it'll stay on until the glow plugs have cycled for whatever the amount of time they're supposed to cycle for, and that's going to preheat the pre-combustion chambers in the cylinder head. I wonder, no, I think they go into the cylinder actually, so they heat the air inside the cylinder. So I'll usually turn the key off, turn it on, let it do 2 cycles just to get a little extra heat in there. It's just, I don't know if it helps, but that's what I like to do. And then once that's turned off, fire it up. Anyways, for those of you who don't run these kinds of things, okay, now we got that running. We're gonna run over to the bulldozer there. I'm gonna clean that thing off, and then we're gonna have to jump it because the batteries in that thing have been iffy for a while. Even when I bought it, they weren't very good, so pretty much got to jump start it every time. It doesn't like to start in the cold, but it's not super cold today, so should be okay. I'll tell you, it is definitely worth buying a decent pair of winter boots if you're going to be living out wherever where it snows a lot. Like these Baffin boots have those built-in like gaiters on them to give you a little extra, and then they kind of cinch up so you don't get snow running down your boots. And that's the best. Just the best. I just keep a bunch of these old floor mats on top of the seat usually when I'm not using this thing. And then they provide me with a, like there's like a hole in the seat here, so like all the snow ends up going in there, and then the warmth from your ass ends up melting, and then you just got a wet ass the whole time. So I just put these, they're like plastic on the back, right, or rubber, and then just like that, just kind of protects me a little bit. This is just a backup one. Put it underneath so we don't lose it. Sure. Okay. Now we gotta, I'm gonna add some additive to the fuel tank over here first. And then we'll bring the tractor over and jump this thing. You kind of want to do your best to keep the snow out of your fuel. Water in the diesel is never good. So I don't remember how much I put in this last, or even how much I've used it since I last put fuel in. So I'm gonna have to check the depth, which let's see if my the wiper, of course not. Okay, the good old-fashioned way. You don't want to put anything in there that's going to contaminate the fuel. Right about there. That's where I touch. And then, okay, so it looks like I put in about half a tank, roughly. So I just measured from where my finger touched the diesel to where it was at the top of the fill. I don't know why I'm closing that. And then I put it on the other side of the tank, and I just do a rough estimation for now because I don't have a fuel gauge on this thing. So anyways, about half the tank is where we sat. I know that this is a roughly 400 liter tank on this thing, so we could just estimate that we got about 200 liters of fuel in there. Okay, I don't remember what this was now. I got it on my phone. It's like 4 point something per liter, 4.2. 844 mils, which I have just shy of 844 mils actually. So I can just add the rest of that. That's like perfect. I'm like 820, so that makes things easy. So this should be good for the rest of the winter, but I doubt I'm going to go through that much. So this machine's not super good on fuel anyways. I'm pretty sure it said in the manual or something, maybe I read it, I don't know. I heard it somewhere, I read it somewhere, that one tank of fuel will do, I think it was 8 hours of work of like the machine working. So 400 liters in 8 hours, I think, or something. At least that's what I remember, but I could be completely wrong. But if that's the case, it kind of makes sense because this thing is just terrible on fuel. So yeah, so we got the additive in there. Now I'm gonna go grab the tractor and we will jump the batteries. Something about this machine here that's a little bit different than, I don't know, most things, I guess. It actually is a positive ground system, so it's kind of backwards to what most things are nowadays, I think. So anyways, that's one thing I always got to keep in mind so I don't accidentally wire it backwards. Also, the starting system on this Bulldozer is 24 volts instead of 12 volts, which my tractor is obviously 12 volt. And then so these got two 12-volt batteries in series here. And you can see I can only connect to one of the batteries at a time. So what I do is I just have it sit there. I usually let it sit for a little bit. It'll charge up one battery. And then I usually, I'll let it sit like that for a little bit. And then I'll try and crank it over. And then it's usually enough just getting the one up, because they're not completely dead, but they're, I don't know, they're just not very good. I mean, it probably would help if I picked up the cable, but once again, that's another thing I got to do. So I'm gonna go grab that coolant that I bought. We'll throw that in there, and then we'll see if we can fire this thing up. the starting procedure on this thing is you dig through the snow until you find your can of ether. That's so let's see. Okay, and then this right here is my gear selector. So it's got a little cover on it, and usually leave the thing in high gear reverse just so that you can keep the cover on there, and it kind of, I don't know, that's just how it sits. Anyways, so put that thing into neutral, which is in the middle. I think they got this little spot on the side here. You're supposed to slide it in there, and it's got a little lock so that it can't fall out of neutral. I suppose you could do that. Okay, so this here's my my throttle control. And then the button here is my starter button. This is like a dead switch for the battery. This disconnects the battery, like a disconnect switch or whatever. Anyway, so what I'll do, there's a little lock here so that when the engine's shut off, it's supposed to lock it in the off position. Just release that and lift it up a little bit. I don't like to rev it right up when I start it, just a little bit above idle there. And then I can turn this into the on position, so now we have battery is connected to the system. And then pull the cap off there so you can get at the intake. And then I'm just gonna give it a little spray and crank it over. Yeah, we don't have enough battery just yet. I'm gonna go rev the tractor up a little bit so that the alternator will give us a little more jam there. And, I think I'll switch the battery cables over to the other battery just for a laugh, see if it'll throw some in the other battery too. I don't think it's cranking fast enough yet. Man, I got an appreciation for Survivor Man. Hi guy, something else. Trudging through this deep snow sucks. was pretty close. Just about lost the camera there at that tree. But so yeah, and that's basically what I do every time I need to use the bulldozer there to widen the driveway. Oh. Yeah, the blade on it is 14 feet wide, so I usually go, you know, roughly 1 1/3 the width of the tractor there. So we're getting like, I don't know, what does that work out to? 18 feet or something. A little narrower here during or close to the building, because I have some stuff I left in the snow on this side here, so I didn't really want to go too far over. But further down, you probably saw there. So you seen I crossed the road. I don't know, about halfway, and that is because I always use the bulldozer to plow the downward side first, so that I can push that back as far as I can, and then when I come back, it's the same thing on the other side. Where I want the water to shed on the other side, I go on the other side of the road. But anyways, so for example here, I come back on the high side so that the extra snow from the windrow can be used with the tractor to be pushed on the downward side. So when everything melts, most of it will go down that way. You end up with more snow on that side because the windrow. There's still some snow on this side, but you know, as long as you have like a pretty gradual melt in the spring, it's not a big deal. It's more about trying to keep the snow flowing, or the water flowing the direction I want it to go in the spring. So yeah, so now I'm gonna get the tractor there, and I'm gonna clean that windrow up, and then I'm gonna also touch up at the end of the driveway there, because it doesn't look very nice. But yeah, so that went pretty well anyways. Not really any issues that time.